What up? Welcome to Homegrown Hustle, where local brilliance takes the center stage. I'm your host, Matt Eichmann. Together, we're about to embark on an inspiring journey. Our community thrives on the wisdom of insightful leaders that are right here in our backyard. And we're bringing their expertise to your ears. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur or simply seeking inspiration, this podcast is your guide. Join us every week in celebrating innovation, guidance, and the power to inspire greatness. Let's explore the stories that shape our local business landscape, and together, let's ignite the spark of excellence.
Now we're in. What's up, everybody? I'm here with Chris Carr. He is the area manager for Union Mortgage. Awesome guy, very well known in the Wayzata area. I had the pleasure of meeting Chris about 6 months ago now at an event that we were both sponsoring. Really high energy guy, tons of connections, does a lot for the community that he's part of. So I'm really happy to have you on here today, Chris. Thanks for joining us. To kick it off, do you want to tell everybody about yourself, a little bit of what's got you to this point?
That's a loaded question.
I know. We got to open the doors, though.
That's great. Again, Chris Carr, I'm area manager with Union Home Mortgage. I've been lending for 27 years. I grew up in real estate. My dad was a builder developer. We had a concrete block production company and a ready-mix company. So I thought I'd be on the beach doing currency exchanges in Spain. When I was a kid, that was my goal. But the shingle doesn't fall far from the roof. So I got into this financing world. I bartended and owned a bar by the University of Minnesota. And this is kind of always the direction I leaned in. So it's just been an amazing journey. Some days are better than others, but every day is fun.
Awesome. So you've been in the real estate space for 27 years, right? Tell us about your transition over to Union and why you started working with Union.
That's a great question. After all these years, there's so many different lenders out there, so many different opportunities, and I've had my share of changes over my career, and I think many of us are looking for the right opportunity. What's a good fit for my book of business, my personality, my clients' needs, and over time, if there was one perfect mortgage company, I think every one of us would all work there because it's perfect, right? So you fine tune to what works best for you and your clients' needs and your partners. And I came across Union. I was actually with a different company years ago, and 40 friends of mine who are amazing, awesome professionals in this industry, they all started landing at Union Home Mortgage. And these are people from around the country, East Coast, West Coast, Central, Tennessee, all over. And I was like, what are you doing? So we started having some conversations and sharing, where am I at? What are they doing? What are they doing at Union that I don't know about? And kind of started that path of discovery and doing my due diligence. And, I had a chance to fly out and visit with people at their corporate and just learning how their DNA works, as well as programs and products and the process. And it was just an amazing visit, which led to more visits and more conversations. And, they've been around for 30 plus years and doing an amazing job. Privately owned, loved all those pieces of it. The biggest component of it all is very, very much fits my personality is there's a DNA here, and people give a darn what they do. And I think a lot of companies do that, but we go as far as to having disc assessments and to really, who are we hiring and why are they a good fit for our company? Can we together prosper and make it better for our clients? And, you don't hear about that kind of talk in business too often. And you need to. I think it's, at this stage in the game, if I was 22, maybe I would go where the highest commission is. I want to do the right thing. I want to sleep great at night. I want to have amazing experiences with my partners and my clients, and also who I work with. I want to get along with who I work with. And, together we can have fun. And so it's been a process. But, those are some of the many reasons why we moved over here. My team and I, we've grown a lot of members in our state, and we're always looking to build and add more. So we're just having fun with it and finding a good fit as much as anything. We have some very, very high-level producers that will be a horrible fit here. We have some very high-level producers that are an amazing fit here. So if you're not a good fit for us and we're maybe not a good fit for you, maybe we fold the paper differently than you like. Let's find that out and make sure we can have fun. And that makes all the difference.
So culture is important over there.
That's a good way to term it. Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
So tell me a little bit about how you ensure that you maintain the integrity and the strong culture that you have.
Well, we have a 40-page questionnaire. Just kidding. Sign here. Again, going back to just having good conversations with me and some of the other people that work in our business development and recruiting and meeting with some of our regional and divisionals and just having those good conversations and finding, are we a good fit for you? Are you a good fit for us? Can we work together to get that common goal? If you want to be an online lender and click a button and get a pre-approval letter, maybe we're not the right fit. If we want to have good conversation and educate our clients and teach them the right ways, and maybe there are different options, those are all part of that culture. That's really, really important. Our privately owned, our owner is very, very much in belief of that, and it conveys all the way through the whole organization. So I don't know if I answered your question or not.
No, yeah, I think you nailed it, Chris. And more importantly, you opened the doors to some more questions. So it sounds like the culture that you have, it's not just at your branch of Union, right? It's across the whole country. What are the things that you see throughout your day-to-day that allow that to stay strong, even when it is kind of fragmented and there's people throughout the country, but that culture, which seems very small business type of culture, is cool. Is at scale.
It's very, very cool. So every day we have a quick huddle. If you can't make it, people are coming and going. Every day is like, let's go do our thing. And we have closings and realtors and meetings and clients and kids to pick up from school and, life in general, right? But every day we have a quick huddle with all of our partners, all the loan officers, the executives. And it's 10 minutes. We just a quick, hey, here's what's coming. Here's what's happening. Here's some reflections from yesterday. Here's some new programs coming out. If you can't make it, we're going to send it out in a link. You can catch it later on tonight. But, communication is really key, and making sure that we know what the status is with our company, where we're going with it. That's a critical thing. It happens every day. And you can't make every single day because you have meetings, you have closings, and you have life. But you can circle back and catch that later on. So we celebrate wins. We talk about issues. We talk about the environment. One other really cool aspect that I've never seen in my whole career is we have a GBSB tour each year. The executives from all the different departments, from IT to marketing to HR to our financials to our program planners, the ownership, the executives, they go to each different region, and we have every partner, our loan officers, our underwriters, our processors, everybody goes to these meetings, and they share the financial status of the company. Here's where we're at. This is what we're doing right. Here's things we need to work on. So you can see the health of the company and not just get a report emailed out to you. At those same meetings, we have a chance to interact and talk with each other as partners. But most importantly, they hand the mic around the room, and everybody gets a chance to ask questions. Hey, I need this. I want that. What do you think about this? They take all those into account. They digest it. They come back. We have a follow-up meeting about a month later, and we go through each individual question, new programs, products. So again, it's that culture. It's an open atmosphere to share and grow and see what's going on in the market. How do we navigate through this world and continue to grow and do well? So it's really cool coming from having worked in big corporate banks to very tiny little broker shops where the culture where me and Matt having a beer after work going, hey, what's the culture tomorrow? It's such a different atmosphere that it's really cool to be part of something that open.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a place that empowers everybody in the organization, not just the people that are in charge. If I'm a first-time home buyer, Chris, and I'm coming to you, what are some common misconceptions that first-time home buyers have?
Well, to begin with, they all hope and wish and think that the rates are still 3%, which don't exist anymore, unfortunately. I wish they did, but we have different people come in every day. We talk to them, we do Zoom calls, and one of the biggest, I think, misconceptions is there's several, but one of the biggest is that they need 20% down. There's a lot of belief in that, myth and urban legend. And honestly, I would say maybe 10% of our clients have 20% down, 15%, 20% of the clients actually do. A lot of those are more established folks who have houses that they're selling and rolling equity into the new house. They're not that first-time home buyer, or we get gifts from mom and dad. So just walking through, how can I buy a home? There's so many different ways to do it. We have dozens of different down payment assistance programs that come into play if you're eligible for them. The city level, address by address, county, state level. There's about 2,400 national ones. So lots of different ways to buy a home. And our goal, again, I think, is just to educate. These misperceptions are really, really rampant. So how do I buy a home with, not having 20% is a big one we talk about all the time. And then the process, how do I do it? What do I go about doing it? Can I go make an offer on a house? Maybe back in the old days, like 2 years ago, those were the old days, because we were changing
the Wild
so
West
quickly.
back then.
We're changing so damn quickly. It's insane. But, doing your homework up front, the process, most of the good realtor partners that we work with, builders, they want you to get pre-approved first. So talk to your family-friendly neighborhood loan officer and kind of learn, what do I need to do to get a pre-approval letter? So we can run through the application process. We like to get your documentation up front. Let's validate it. Let's verify it. Let's make sure your pre-approval is like rock solid. Rock of Gibraltar. We get in front of underwriters for credit, for income. Make sure everything looks good. And then the fun part is to talk about, there's two huge numbers in our world. One is, what's my ceiling? How much could I buy? And then again, the most important number of the two is, what are you comfortable with? Let's talk through that. And what does that mean in terms of price for a home? So getting you good information squashes a lot of those misperceptions. But two big ones are the process. How does it work? And then how much money do I need down?
I like you, Chris. You can roll with the punches. All right. So new home buyer, misconceptions. Let's talk about, I'm just going to start from the beginning. Ready, clap, start over, Gila, edit all that other stuff out. So Chris.
No worries.
I'm sure you've heard it all over the last few years, all the new home buyer assumptions and questions and everything in between. So what are some of the things that you end up educating your customers about when they come to you?
Always a lot.
No, I've got power block on.
If I could pick maybe the biggest two or three that we run across.
What if I turn my volume
One,
down?
everybody wants 3% for a mortgage interest rate, which the person does already know.
Can you still hear me?
Policy created.
It's not as fucking annoying on my side.
That we need 20% down.
No, that's good.
A small percentage of our clients do, 15, 20%. Most people buy with 5% down, 10% down, 10% down. We have so many different programs that actually can allow you to get down payment assistance if you need it, if you're eligible for it. There's a lot of criteria, but there's neighborhood by neighborhood, city by city, statewide, countywide, lots of different ways to help you buy your home and not pay rent anymore. So, educating is really our, I think.
Always a lot. The biggest, if I had to pick maybe it's the biggest two or three that we run across.
In a way that,
Number one, everybody wants 3% for a mortgage interest rate, which unfortunately doesn't exist anymore. Those were stimulus monies, falsely created. We're north of that by a long shot right now. But again, just educating them and talking through the why. Some of the other big misperceptions, one of the biggest ones is that we need 20% down, which maybe a small percentage of our clients do, 15, 20%. Most people buy with 5% down, 3% down, 10% down. We have so many different programs that actually can allow you to get down payment assistance if you need it, if you're eligible for it. There's a lot of criteria, but there's neighborhood by neighborhood, city by city, statewide, countywide, lots of different ways to help you buy your home and pay rent anymore. So, educating is really, I think our job is educating.
Doing anything for the first time can be a daunting task, but buying a home for the first time is that's the nuclear bomb of tasks right there.
So those are some big things. And then just the process itself is really challenging for a lot of folks. They don't know where to start. So, they'll go look at a house. Hey, I went to an open house on Saturday. I want to buy that
for
house.
Sure. So,
well, step one is
the same question, but for somebody who comes to you who's a small business owner and a first-time home buyer, are there any things to think about for that individual that might be different than somebody who just has a regular 9 to 5?
Because we want you to go buy and just be supremely confident that your transaction is going to work. So we don't want to waste your time, my time, our partner's time. So walking through the step-by-step
we should have got that out of you during the onboarding process here. Those
are some of the things we do every day, but those are probably the two biggest things we run across is I don't have 20% down and I don't know where the hell to start or where the heck to start. Well, it's the single largest debt that most people have ever in their lifetime. It's a bit of a big deal. Let's make sure you know what you're doing and really understand the process. That's a great question. We don't help business owners. Just kidding. We do a lot of that. Right. No business owners allowed. There's two distinct buckets when we're doing our financings. We have two different teams actually on the outset. We have wage earners, and that's somebody like you work at one of the big companies and you get a pay stub and a W-2 or a small company. You're an employee. As a business owner, there's a whole nother couple layers of underwriting. Are you a small business owner? Do you do a Schedule C on your tax return? Are you an LLC or an S Corp or a partnership? Lots of different ways that you can be a business owner. And depending on how you're set up, that's going to dictate what we need to get from you. So do we need business returns and personal returns? K-1s, 1099s. We've worked with actors and actresses.
Is this business going to allow for the person that owns it, who's applying for this, to pay for the home?
That are,
right? Are they going to have the money there to even fulfill this loan? Because my guess is banks aren't giving out mortgages with the intention of ripping it right back. That's an asset to them once they land, right?
How much do you make? What's the likelihood you're going to continue? So it's not overly complex, but we try to make it easy. But here's the list of stuff we need. We don't need your DNA or the kitchen sink, but they're going to ask a lot of questions to get understanding of how you do your business. You might be an artist, and we don't know anything about your art. Maybe it's super cool. Do you make any money? And not to pigeonhole artists, but there's so many different ways to do it. Getting that information helps the underwriters get a feel for you. They don't have the pleasure of talking to you like I do. And that's what we want to try to understand is how do we help you get into a payment range that's going to be comfortable for you and sustainable so you can even have fun. Have friends over for a barbecue on Super Bowl.
Yeah. Because, last thing you want to do is move into a home and have that hanging over your head the whole time. I know when we just went through our new home purchasing process, there's questions you don't really think about when it comes to finances. This was before I knew you, Chris. Don't get all offended. But so he takes things really personal, guys. So when you have somebody asking you about the most personal parts of your finances, it becomes very emotional for the purchaser, even if it's really not supposed to, but when we're talking math, there's not a lot of emotions involved there, right? Could you talk a little bit about some of that interaction and maybe things to think about as a business owner or just a first-time home buyer coming in regards to the emotional component of that whole process?
Great question again. So a business owner, let's put things into two different buckets. So when you're doing business and you're making business decisions, is it profitable for my business? Can I do that? Can I offer that service? Am I buying something for the business, like a new truck or a new lawnmower or equipment or whatever? Those are math questions. Inevitably, when we get into your home and we get into your personal finances and your personal DNA and your credit, we're going to need to ask a few questions on occasion that might be a little uncomfortable. And it's not because we're being nosy. It's part of the process. So we really want to try to help people relax as much as possible. We're not going to the doctor telling you have cancer. We want to get understanding of your finances and bumps in the road happen. You maybe had a few things happen a few years ago. That's okay. We will want to get information on, is that going to happen again? Was it a one-time? So things happen in life. I've got high-end earning clients that have had bumps in the road. We've got first-time home buyers that have bumps in the road. So life happens to everybody. That's inevitable. So getting a handle of what happened there and just kind of talking through it, and I try to get people relaxed. I'm half Polish, half Norwegian. I lead into every new conversation like that. I'm like, hey, I'm just happy to be here, matching socks and all. Let's talk about it, and try to make you feel comfortable sharing some of this information, because it is not fun sharing things that happen financially or credit-wise. And we're not here to judge. We're here to navigate through the regulatory world and help out. So, and you got to remember, it happens to everybody. Everybody goes through that process. Everybody's got to answer the same questions. Yeah. And your neighbor who makes $2 million a year, they might have the same problems that you do. They just don't talk about it at the backyard fence line.
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen all of it. There's the things that people are thinking about when they're going through this transaction. I think it's really interesting and kind of polarizing, because one side of it, people are literally just doing their job, asking these questions, very logic based. But the other side of the conversation is like the opposite. There's very little logic, very little math. And then there's you, who's kind of caught in the middle of it, right? Because you're like, you have the FaceTime with the agent or the individual who's purchasing the home. And then you have these people who are the underwriters. And I'm not even sure what that looks like. I've never met anybody that does underwriting. So I think it's a real job, but you're stuck here kind of navigating that, whatever you want to call that situation. So how do
all
you...
the feelings of the heart and the emotion, wrapping that together with your finances is really critical. We talk about that all the time with our underwriters, with our processors, with our loan officer assistants, the back room for marketing. At the end of the day, our client is a person trying to buy a home, refinance a home. They have a family, they live there. This is their dwelling. So it's a big deal. So keeping that perspective is really critical. You're not just another number in the inbox, stamp, move. Let's go through. And, again, remember, there's that human component. It's not a business decision for you. You can't help but be emotional about a house, because you're going to sleep there. You're going to have family there. You're going to raise your kids there, have a party there, whatever you do. We need to make sure that it's not just a debit and credit situation for you. So having the culture we do, everybody in our organization knows, even our appraisal team who orders the appraisals, they know that there's a timeline involved. Let's stay on top of this and make sure the process moves smoothly as possible. It's real estate, man. There's issues that come up along the fence line that we can't even get. Title issues, appraisal issues. There's snow on the roof, so they can't inspect the roof. All kinds of stuff happens. We got to navigate through it and make sure we keep your timeline and your closing on time so you can do what you need to do. So it's I think we're puppet masters as a loan officer many times. Pulling all the strings.
Yeah, you're back there kind of just playing all the sides and being everybody's friend and really making stuff happen. But the math has to all work out, or none of it happens. So that pre-approval process, really, let's make sure we don't waste anybody's time here step in the process, whether it's the agent, whether it's the person trying to buy the home. Because I'm sure you can look at people's finances pretty quickly and have a decent idea of whether or not they've got an idea or they've got a potential mortgage that you can get for them, right? So it doesn't take a lot, but really just the fear of like, hey, I got to show somebody else who's not my spouse all of everything that is how I handle money. Like the psychology of money is a pretty interesting thing to think about, because everyone really comes from different backgrounds.
And I think there's books and hundreds of years of therapy on that.
Yeah, and they're coming out with new ones every day too. But
on the outside, we can really get a feel for you. We can, sometimes it's just really simple. Hey, I get this. My payment's going to be here. My credit's here. Let's go. Super easy. Those are the cookie cutter deals that are very, very much smooth, easy, fast. The reason why we do everything up front and want to get all this information before we send your pre-approval out is let's dig in and let's make sure we can massage it or turn it sideways and look at backwards, forwards. I call friends that I've known for 25 years. They might work for another lender, but I know them, I trust them. Hey, have you ever seen this before? We check with guidelines. We have a help desk for underwriting questions. Let's dig in. Sometimes, even after all these years, you run into something you don't know what the heck it is. Or does the guidelines still work for this? Or can we make this work and how? So we ask a lot of questions internally, getting answers. So that's the whole key. The math has to work. Some way, shape, or form, it's got to make sense.
Yeah. And math, I mean, it's one of my favorite my favorite words because it's part of my name. So for you, when you're going through this process and you're navigating the psychology and all that, like, what is it that you're thinking about or that your team has been trained to think about when they go into first meeting with the individual?
Very open-minded is my approach. Let's be really open-minded. I don't know you from Adam. We haven't met before. I understand you want to buy a home. So, those first few initial conversations or meetings or Zoom calls or face-to-face, nobody wants to meet anymore. They want to do it over this, which is fine. But as we ask as many questions and we want to promote you asking me all the questions that you could think of, you might not know the questions to ask. So we're going to give you some information, and we don't want you to feel like you're drinking from a fire hose at all. It's a lot to soak in. So say, hey, let's have that initial conversation. Here's some questions we're going to ask. I want to get to know you, what your goals are. You're not just a number to me. We want to understand where you're at. What's your timeline? Do you have things that we need to be aware of that are changing and coming up? But just kind of getting to know you. We're not a commodity, but in some ways the math is and the numbers are, but we want to help understand you and your goals. That helps us, maybe find the right program for you. And then let's share here's several options. Let's talk through them, how do they work, and see, give you the opportunity to pick and choose what works best for you.
Yeah.
A lot of lending communities don't do that.
Having a lot of options is better than being told, hey, this is the only thing we'll be able to push through for you. So those conversations are probably happier for the
You'd
person.
Be surprised.
Yeah.
A lot of people go online and they get 27 emails from 14 online lenders. Here's your product. Here's your price. Here's your fees. No conversation. And it might be a horrible deal for you.
Is that how people are purchasing mortgages? That's fascinating to me.
Online's getting more and more prevalent. We do a lot of our interactions are, we do this a lot, but we have digital components to our business. Just technology is amazing nowadays. Mm-hmm. We can get one day certainty. I can have your job approved, your income approved, and your pay stubs and assets approved. You haven't uploaded the thing because we have the technology to gather that for you to make life easy. But you still need to have the conversation. And talk through it.
So I know a lot of real estate agents in the space out in the West Metro. Why do so many of them like doing business with you? Like, why is it that they recommend you?
Because I'm funny, man. I guess I'm just really honest, very down to earth. There are a lot of different personality types in our world, but if our partners trust us. I guess that's how I look at it. My partners need to trust me with their paycheck. Here's a client. Help get them pre-approved. Take care of them. In the future, they're going to have more referral partners for us. Maybe we can help them buy their second home. By the end of the day, it's their livelihood as a realtor partner or financial planner or some of our attorneys or other, one-off business referral partners, I guess. They're trusting us to take care of whoever they send over. Maybe you send Matt, maybe you send your sister over because you just bought a house. I can't help you now. But maybe a family member has a question. And if we can be a resource for you and help give you some good information, maybe down the road, there's an opportunity. So, not just being a debit and credit person, getting to know you, and then communicating the hell out of the field, making sure everybody's aware of what's going on. That's all key. We work with people, not products. We work with people, not rates. We work with people, not houses. So that's the key. My referral partners are my lifeblood. My family, my daughter, they depend on me. So I want to make sure that we're doing the right thing and have a damn good time doing it and have fun.
So Chris, tell me what the top producing real estate agents that you work with. Tell me how they work versus maybe some of the agents that aren't quite as good. Like, what do they do that makes them better? That's a tough one. I might have put you on the spot here. I
can't share everybody's secrets.
Okay. What do you like most
top producers
about
in any business,
the real estate
whether it's
agents
real
that you
estate
work with?
or finances or people with podcasts and other businesses? Being organized, controlling your day, having a plan, time blocking, making sure you know your product inside and out, being a really true resource to your customers, knowing how to navigate through the landmines of whatever industry you're in, but real estate in particular, knowing your market, knowing your product, knowing the neighborhoods, and just being a really big resource is huge. So anybody can unlock the door and show you a house, but knowing what to look for and knowing maybe the school district or this house is built 1970 or earlier. We probably need a lead paint test. Really, you got to be really good at what you do. I coached my daughter on that in school. I don't care what you do for a living, whatever you want to go into, knock yourself out. Just get really good at it, have fun with it, and you'll do well.
That's great advice. Your daughter, hopefully the shingle doesn't fall too far from the roof on that one. It'll probably turn out good for her. So
I don't think she always listens, but
yeah, they listen. They listen. That's what I found at least. But there's a few things my dad said that I've brought up to him now, and he was kind of shocked that I actually paid attention those 18 years I was living there. But they do listen. So I know we're coming to the end here. We got one question we ask everybody outside of how to get in contact with you. But the question we ask is, what does hustle mean to you in terms of business?
Shake your butt.
There you go.
Get after it. I have a little rhino theory. It's just the same thing. Rhinos are 3-ton animals. They hang out, they're relaxed, they eat, they do their thing. When they want something, they go get it. You got to hustle. Make it happen.
About that action. Yeah, I love that. So if somebody wants to get in contact with you, they're a small business owner and they're looking to work with the best mortgage broker in Minnesota, quite possibly. How do they get in contact with you? You want to give your cell phone number out here? Do you want just look you up online? What's the best way?
Call Matt.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
No, my cell phone number is glued to my app, 952-381-1917. My email address is ccarr@uhm.com. Super simple, straightforward.
Good deal.
Or call Matt.
Yep. Or we'll get you in contact with Chris if you want to. The man knows what he's doing. We didn't use him for our home, so I got to make it up to him now. I'm playing the brownie point game here. So, well, Chris, I really appreciate you coming on here, taking the time out of your day to talk about mortgage and how that could help some of our listeners. Is there anything you want to say before we cut it out and you head on to the rest of your day helping people buy houses?
Matt, I just want to thank you. I appreciate your time and the opportunity to share and have a good conversation. We've got lots of opportunities, you and I, in the future. We seem to think alike, and it's fun to find people that have the same goals and plans as you do in life. And we got to smell our own. So it's been a pleasure. I appreciate you. And anybody who has questions, even if you're not ready to buy, just reach out. We'd love to help get you some information and maybe talk about future plans as much as maybe opportunities to refinance when the rates fall, hopefully this year.
Please, all the way down to 3. Let's get them back down to 3. All right, Chris, thanks again. Really, really looking forward to seeing this one turn out. And I know there's a lot of people that'll be listening to this as well. So thanks again, Chris. You have a great rest of your day.
Thanks again for joining us on Homegrown Hustle. Our local business community thrives because of the brilliant leaders right here in our backyard. And it's been an absolute privilege to provide them with a platform to share their invaluable expertise. Stay tuned for more insight, wisdom, and inspiration from our local business champions. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast platform. Together, we'll continue to nurture and expand our homegrown success stories. Matt Eichmann signing off until our next insightful episode.